Amanda Fortini is a summa cum laude graduate of Harvard, and she lives in Livingston. I envy her intellect and I admire her life choices moving to Livingston. She's published in the New Yorker, New York Times, Rolling Stone, New Republic, New York Magazine, Slate, Salon, Elle, it keeps going. I'm so pleased to have her in this collection.
Can you hear me? Okay. So I'm really honored to be here, to be in this collection. 5 years ago in July, I made what seemed to be a really crazy decision, which was to move, to everyone in my life, which was to move to Montana for love. So my partner, Walter Kern, and I packed up a U-Haul and drove from Los Angeles here, and it turned out to be really the best decision I ever made in my life. Not only because of Walter, but also because of Livingston. And I felt so embraced and welcomed by the community, and I feel really excited to be in this anthology. So thank you all for that. So this piece is called Should I Buy a Gun? And, and it's an essay about learning to shoot and deciding whether to buy a gun. And that's what it's ostensibly about. But really, it's about coming to a new community and coming around to the ways of a new place. You know, a gun has a different cultural significance and meaning and history in Montana than it does in, say, Illinois or New York City or whatever. And it's also about being a woman and feeling physically vulnerable. And I'm going to start the piece at the point when I take a class and learn to shoot. But the beginning of the essay goes through my thought process of whether or not I should buy a gun, and I recount several break-ins that I experienced, and I once walked in on a hold-up in a deli in New York City. In my 20s, I was like a shit magnet or something, like so many things were happening to me. So anyway, I go through that, but I'm just gonna start with the class here. Oh, and the Elle editors, this was published in Elle magazine, they made the unfortunate choice to subtitle the piece, "A Paranoid Crime Victim Debates the Pros and Cons of Gun Ownership." So it was extremely gratifying to have Alan do away with that subtitle and have the piece have a second life without it. Here we go. Around this time, I went to see my doctor. The receptionist, a doughy woman dressed in pastel scrubs, came out from her nest behind the front window to tell me, apropos of nothing, about an all-female firearms training course. Assessing me head to toe, she said, with an amiable nod that seemed to indicate she'd been analyzing me for a while. "You look like you need to learn to shoot." I could tell by her tone that she meant to be solicitous and maternal, but her comment unnerved me. A woman I've never met is telling me I look like I need to learn to shoot? What the hell? What did she see? Perhaps I thought she was referring to the fact that I'm not physically prepossessing. Or maybe she was fixated on my all-black, un-Montana wardrobe and determined I needed some toughening up. I must have been emitting pheromones of unease, I concluded, the way some people signal fear to dogs. I didn't want to be perceived as a human orchid. I decided to learn to shoot. The day-long class I opted for, called Women on Target, is sponsored by the National Rifle Association and is so popular that the first time I try to register, all the spots are full. I'm forced to wait another 3 months. When the day finally comes, I arrive at the range at 7 a.m. to find approximately 35 women of various ages, from 20-something to 60-plus, sitting at the sort of long, fake wood tables on which bingo is played in church basements. The bathrooms are labeled does and bucks. Outside, at the rifle range, people are already shooting. Every time there's a reverberating boom, a few women jump, startled. It sounds like we're in a war zone. Most of the women have come to this clinic so they can get a permit to carry a concealed gun for self-defense. An elderly woman tells me that she wants to stash one in her bag for shopping trips. For the parking lot, she says. Whether having a gun actually makes one safer is something of a statistical morass. And I'm actually going to spare you the statistical morass, because it is. I'm not sure what to make of all this, but I'm relieved that the main focus of my course is safety. When John, the soft-spoken male half of John and Connie, the married couple running the clinic, I took a clinic over in Logan, actually at the Logan gun range, takes out an unloaded gun to demonstrate proper handling, I flinch. Be sure of your target and what's beyond Beyond it, he tells us, turning the muzzle toward the ceiling, and always keep your finger off the trigger until ready to shoot. Later, another instructor, a gray-haired grandmotherly type named Shirley, who speaks with the patrician intonation of a 1930s movie star, reiterates the safety rules. You don't want to have an accident, she says. The people who want to get rid of the guns, that's what they talk about. She tells us she carries a revolver in her purse, in case something happens. For hands-on shooting practice, we separate into 3 groups, pistols, shotguns, and rifles. On my way to the pistol instruction area, I stopped to ask a tall man with an NRA belt buckle for directions. The handgun clinic is that way, he says, pointing over my head. I'm looking for pistols, I say. Honey, he tells me with an indulgent smile, pistols are handguns. Most of my classmates aren't firearms virgins like me. They've shot with a husband, boyfriend, or father. I'm handed an unloaded gun. I hold it out at arm's length like it smells bad or is poisonous. I know it's empty, but I'm afraid it's going to go off. Our instructor is a native Montanan in his 40s who seems overly preoccupied with political correctness. Ladies, he'll say, is it okay if I correct your stance? The class was supposed to be taught entirely by women, but too many students signed up. Nervously, he shows us the correct firing position and how to sight the gun by looking down its barrel at the target. Put the ammo in, he tells me. I follow his directions. My hands start shaking. All that's left to do is shoot the damn thing. I'm intimidated. I'm petrified, but people are watching. Peer pressure always motivates me. I squint, hold my breath, and fire. Fuck. My first thought is, I can't believe how loud that was. I'm wearing earplugs, but you don't just hear the firecracker noise in your ears, you feel it with your whole body. Even if, like me, you've never handled a gun, they figure so heavily in the entertainment we watch, from Law & Order Special Victims Unit to Sarah Palin's reality show to movie trailers and video game commercials, that firing one for the first time is a weird combination of startling and banal. Guns are, pardon the pun, loaded with so much cultural baggage that you think you know what to expect. You don't. TV guns sound and act no more like real gunshots than construction paper snowflakes resemble real snowflakes. My next thought is, I want to do that again. I have an immediate exhilarated reaction. Partly, it's that what I've just done initially frightened me, so there's a sense of a limit overcome. For many people I know, guns remain unreal, the accessories of fictional characters, or at least of the other, not you and yours. Yet to fire a gun is to realize you can do it. You can operate one, understand how it works. Shooting gives me a rush that comes from an admittedly incomplete mastery. Plus the sensory experience of target shooting, readying your stance, controlling your breath, focusing on the target is so absorbing that I can't indulge my free-floating worries. I can't have a self-conscious intellectual reaction when firing a gun. It's almost meditative. At one point, I glimpse a woman in her 60s dressed in a white polo, creased khakis, and pristine white sneakers, attire for a day of golf at the country club. She's brandishing a Glock. I have to stop myself from laughing with delight. As I shoot, I again experience the strange, paradoxical sense of an act that's familiar and unfamiliar at once. I've seen Clint Eastwood do this, I've seen Arnold do this, I've seen Sigourney Weaver and Linda Hamilton do this. Shooting a gun is like smoking a cigarette, or drinking espresso in a cafe in Paris, or having sex on a Caribbean beach. You've watched it so many times on a screen that you experience your own actions as an echo. It's impossible not to feel like a cliche.